All right. Next, we're gonna do gnocchis. These are challenging. They're fun, but they're challenging. These literally are a living, breathing animal. Like I was saying earlier, if it's humid, it becomes more of a challenge. If it's very arid, it's a challenge. You know, you want to try to find that nice, happy medium. If you flip through your books, I have a nice gnocchi recipe. This yields a very light gnocchi. When making the gnocchi, the potato is the key. You want to starch your potato. A baking potato usually works best. That'll make it slightly firm, but soft. Yukon Gold makes the best because it's got the flavor, the color. In fact, if any of you ladies are coming to dinner tomorrow for the Mentalist, I made Yukon Gold gnocchis that we're serving on a station with the bolognese sauce. So it's really, really good. It gives it a different taste. It's lighter. It's got that nice yellow color to it. And when you take a bite of it, it pops. It's a beautiful thing. So, the gnocchi. 2.5 pounds of potato. These are Yukon Golds. They're still a bit warm. You want to try to work them warm. What we did was, to get ready for the class, I steamed off the potatoes ahead of time. What you want to do is you want to cook them, let them cool. Once they're fork tender, get a toothpick, get a fork. As soon as you can penetrate all the way through without resistance, they're finished. Don't let them go too far. The farther you cook the potato, the more moisture you're going to allow inside, cutting the starch, and then you're going to end up with potato soup on the bottom of your bowl. So try to keep that in mind. Now what I do with these potatoes, these are all riced. You can get these anywhere. I'm sure you ladies who cook at home have a ricer. It's just a machine with the holes on the bottom. And what we did with the potatoes was we cooked the potato till it was fork tender. And all I do is I just cut them in half and put them in the ricer. And then you squeeze down, and here comes the potato, just like that. That's all it is. You want to do that so it's nice and fine. You don't want lumpy potato. If you have lumpy potato in the gnocchi, you're going to have lumpy gnocchis. 2.5 pounds of potato. I'm going to make a little well in the center of the potatoes. You should take the wedding rings off for this one. Make a little well in the center. The flour. We're going to put 3/4 of the flour in here. Going to make a nice little well in there. And then we're going to crack our eggs. Salt, very important. Even if hypertension, don't worry about it. If you can't have salt, the amount of salt that's going to be in here is going to be negligible. You need it to pull the flavors together. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, which I completely understand, again, you can use a fork. You'll see in most of the recipes, I've put work with your fingers in a circular motion. But if you don't want to do that, it's perfectly fine to get a fork, break up the yolks, and just go in a circular form, circular pattern. Once we start incorporating most of the flour with the egg and the potato, that's when we're going to get dirty with our hands. It's actually, it seems like a lot of work, but the more and more you do it, it actually becomes therapeutic. It really is. Like, it's one of those Zen things, if you will. You get to get your hands dirty in the nice soft dough. You play around with it. And that's it. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to begin to fold everything together. Just like this. It's a patient process. You really don't want to hurry it up. You can use a dough scraper, a bench scraper if you want, just to start turning everything over into itself. You don't want to work it too hard, because you really don't want to over-activate the gluten in the flour, because at that point you're just going to end up with a hard ball of dough and potato. The gnocchi, they should be very light, like a pillow. Just think of a pillow. They should be nice and airy, very light. You see how I'm just folding it in? If anyone's ever made fresh biscuits or anything like that, you'll get a feel the dough actually begins to take on a life of itself. You can actually, you know, it starts off as this soft flour and egg, it's sticky, then you start turning it and it starts coming alive. It's nice and light. Just keep folding it on top of each other. A little more flour. And you'll get the feel for this too. If the first few times you make it, it'll be a trial and error, even though you have the recipe. Again, like I said, it's a humidity thing. And that's it. That's all I'm doing, is basically folding it onto itself and then going from my fingers to the palms of my hand. Just working it nice and slow. Once we get a nice complete ball, like that. What I do is I dust it with a little bit of flour and I'll cut it into squares. I'll cut it into nice little square cigars, if you will, like this. And we'll work each one of these individually. That's our dough. See how nice it came together? It's still nice and light. That's key to this. If you work it too hard, or if you don't watch the humidity and all your moisture, one of two things will happen. It'll either be dense, where you won't be able to chew it. I'm sure you've had gnocchis like that.